One sunny morning, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy were hanging out near Green Hill Zone, enjoying the fresh air and talking about their latest adventures. Sonic, as usual, was feeling extra energetic and looking for a way to burn off some of his speed. "Hey, I've got an idea," Sonic grinned, standing up and stretching his legs. "Let's have a race. But not just any race, the ultimate race challenge. We'll set up obstacles, challenges, and see who's the fastest and the most skilled." Tails, with his usual enthusiasm for building things, immediately pulled out his toolkit. "I love it. I can design some cool obstacles and time trials along the way. Count me in." Knuckles cracked his knuckles with a grin. "I'm always up for a challenge." Amy clapped her hands excitedly. "Sounds like fun. I'll show you all that I'm more than just speed." Sonic pointed toward a huge area of Green Hill Zone. "We'll set up different zones: speed runs, strength challenges, aerial tricks, and of course a final obstacle course. Zone 1. Speed Dash Showdown. The first zone was all about pure speed. Tails had created a stretch of land with loops, dash panels, and ramps. The challenge was simple. Who could get through it the fastest? Sonic, of course, was first up. With a confident smirk, he blasted off at full speed, zipping through the loops, launching off the ramps, and sliding around curves with lightning precision. He crossed the finish line and turned around with a wink. Easy. Knuckles was next, relying on his brute strength to power through the course. He may not have been as fast as Sonic, but his leaps were massive, and he crushed some of the rocks in his path without even breaking a sweat. Amy surprised everyone with her agility. She may not have Sonic's speed, but she moved gracefully, using her hammer to propel herself over obstacles and maintain momentum. "Don't count me out," she said, smiling as she crossed the finish line. Zone 2, Strength and Stamina. In the second zone, the challenge was focused on raw strength and stamina. Knuckles' favorite part. Tails had set up large boulders to push, heavy blocks to lift, and logs to smash through. Knuckles started things off by lifting the heaviest boulder with ease and tossing it aside like it was nothing. He then broke through the logs with a single punch, his strength on full display. "Piece of cake," he said, dusting off his hands. Amy wasn't intimidated. With a clever use of her hammer, she swung it powerfully, shattering logs and pushing boulders aside. "It's all about technique," she winked. Sonic, while not as strong, used his speed and agility to get through the challenges quickly. He dashed from obstacle to obstacle, using momentum to shift the heavier objects and laughing as he went. "I'm not all about speed, you know." Zone 3, Aerial Acrobatics. The third zone was for Tails to shine. It was all about aerial skills and agility in the air. Rings were placed high above the ground, and contestants had to jump and fly through them, showing off their best tricks. Tails took to the sky with ease, flying through the rings and performing flips and spins in the air. He looped around the course with a natural grace, proving his mastery of the skies. Sonic followed, using his momentum to leap from platform to platform, spinning in midair and catching the rings with style. He even pulled off a midair somersault before landing. Check out these moves. Amy, always creative, used her hammer to launch herself high into the air and twirl through the rings, landing with a graceful bow. "Who says I can't fly?" Knuckles, though more grounded, used his powerful punches to launch himself upward, grabbing rings with his fists and showing off his raw strength in the air. Final zone. The ultimate obstacle course. The final challenge was the most intense. A massive obstacle course designed by Tails, filled with everything from wall climbing challenges, spike pits, moving platforms, and tricky puzzle sections. Sonic, always the showman, went first. He zoomed across the platforms, leaping over spikes and spinning through narrow gaps. As he reached the wall climb, he ran up vertically, defying gravity with his speed. Before diving into the puzzle section, he solved it quickly and shot toward the finish. Tails, using his brain as much as his agility, solved the puzzles in record time and used his flying abilities to navigate the trickier sections. He worked smart rather than fast, but his precision made him a serious contender. Amy, with her hammer in hand, smashed through some of the tougher obstacles and found creative ways to navigate the course. She even used her hammer as a springboard to launch herself across wide gaps. Knuckles powered through the obstacle course like a freight train, climbing walls, smashing through platforms, and using his brute strength to bulldoze his way through. But he also showed surprising agility when it came to the puzzle, solving it faster than anyone expected. The final showdown. As the race neared its end, the four friends met at the final stretch, a long, narrow bridge hanging over a river with waterfalls crashing on either side. They all took their places, ready for one last sprint to the finish line. On your marks, get set, go! Sonic shouted, and they all took off. Sonic's feet moved like lightning as he dashed forward. But Amy and Knuckles were right behind him. Tails flew above, trying to get ahead. The bridge creaked beneath them as they raced neck and neck, each one determined to win the final moments. Sonic saw a rock blocking the path. Without slowing down, he leaped over it, flipping in midair. Tails swooped around it, and Amy smashed it with her hammer. But Knuckles decided to use the rock to his advantage, launching himself off it to get extra height. With one last burst of speed, Sonic dashed across the finish line, barely ahead of Knuckles and Amy. Tails landed gracefully right behind them. That was close, Sonic said, panting but grinning ear to ear. You may have one, but we all crushed it, Knuckles said with a wide smile. Amy wiped the sweat from her brow and laughed. I think we all deserve a prize. Tails nodded, pulling out a bag of medals he had made earlier. And here it is. Everyone gets a medal for completing the ultimate race challenge. The friends high-fived and laughed, each proud of their performance.